listen very closely. If you hate your job, if you've recently lost your job, if you started a business but you're struggling and are miserable, have no fear. Superhero Curt Mercadante is here.
My purpose, my mission in life, and it took me many years to kind of figure this out and define it, much less live it, is to save the world by helping individuals fight for lives of freedom and fulfillment. Today, I'm less of a superhero. I'm Dumbledore today. I got my Hogwarts shirt on. I started coaching colleagues and friends because they came to me and they're like, listen, you've built this business and you put together a program to scale up. And I said, yeah. And on the days that I coached them, I realized I didn't have that feeling anymore, that lack of fulfillment. I thought, I really like doing this. And so I put together a program, and it was like a 3-year plan to ramp up the coaching and ramp down my agency. And after 4 weeks, it turned into a 4-week plan because I was like, screw this. I know what I want. And at peak revenue, it was the scariest thing I ever did, but the best decision I ever made. I shut it down.
And I think that's, a big problem societally today, that especially with young men who are struggling and feeling a sort of a lack of purpose, a lack of meaning to their lives. Without that, trouble happens. So I think it's a great message. And I think your mission is outstanding. I love it.
The biggest problem isn't the fake news. It's the fact that people share articles and get very strong about them. And then you read the article and it has nothing to do with what that person thinks. They do it based on the headline. So some people got very upset and started saying, oh, you need to read Dale Carnegie and How to Win Friends and Influence People and this and that. And you should never intentionally. And if you actually read the article, what I was saying was, be yourself, find your unique self, your superpowers. Don't be afraid to live your uniqueness and don't conform. And if that makes people upset, then so be it. I think the biggest problem, and this is like keeping me up at night, is groupthink and conformity. And we come out of the womb with exploration and discovery, a sense of exploration and discovery, even if it's just discovering, behind the couch, right? Yeah. And somewhere along the line, and there's evidence specifically, a preschool cancels its kindergarten class or its theater program because it wasn't getting the kids college ready enough and career ready. Yeah. It starts at an early age where that sense of discovery and exploration is quashed in favor of coerced conformity. And it's all about get that 4-year college degree, select a major, go into this, do that. And when people get to 40 or 45, they come to me. Right. And they're like, listen, I've been living a life that was what my parents wanted for me when I was 15, right, or what I thought I wanted when I was 16. And now I'm miserable because I wasn't living my uniqueness. I was living someone else's expectations.
The traditional education systems are starting to fail us. That doesn't mean that, I want to abandon them. I think the universities traditionally is an institution, the sort of the crucible from which ideas are born and evolve. So I would love to see them go back to that role. But unfortunately, the cost has become very prohibitive for people. And then also, yes, there's this sort of group think issue. And it's funny because, the show is really more about marketing and sales, not about politics. So, but
it goes into, it's all connected because I think when you look at the jobs of like tomorrow, like literally tomorrow, not like next generation tomorrow. Mm-hmm. We don't even know what those jobs are going to be. And we're training people the way we've trained them, in a system that was put together based on like the Prussian military and for the Industrial Revolution to churn out armies of bots, right? And that's not what we're going to need.
How does one be authentic? Because this is the thing that I've been kind of thinking a little bit more about is this quote by Carl Jung, which is that people don't have ideas have people, and that it's that in fact if I'm really honest with myself, how a lot of this stuff is picked up from let's say an article that I read from you or other people. It's influenced by other ideas, things that I've read, things that I've been taught. It's hard in a way to be genuinely authentic.
So, the first thing we do is we take the Gallup Strengths Finder assessment. They call it Clifton Strengths because they recently rebranded. And what that does is it shows you your top your dominant talent themes. And talents are not skills. Like skills are things like I play the piano well, I sing well, I speak well. Talent themes are those naturally occurring patterns of thought, feeling, and behavior that can be productively applied. And when you productively apply them and use them intentionally and you work them out like you would work out a muscle at the gym, you turn them into strengths. And when you're in your strength zone, that's when things flow, you know. And I'll do coaching sessions where people are like, yeah, as you go through it, they're like, when I do more of this, I'm miserable. When I do more of this, oh, that's perfect. You know, they're tactical versus strategic. They're activators versus people who just kind of spin out of control thinking. And so once you learn that, you can learn to manage it, just like, you know, Bruce Banner learns to manage his anger issues, forgetting the Infinity Wars, right? He appears to have trouble. So we do that to figure out, it's all about self-awareness. And strengths isn't just determining kind of your behaviors and how you act. I tell people, once you're going to go on this, so the next thing we do is work to define your purpose and your vision for your life. And you have one life purpose. People go, well, I had a purpose in my 20s and now I have a purpose in my 30s. No, that's an objective. Your life purpose is your life's purpose. And if you don't have it at 35 or 25, that's fine. Most people don't, but don't confuse it and say, well, I had this purpose and that purpose. So you have your life's purpose, right? So imagine that's the summit of a mountain and you're going to go up the mountain. Now, along the way, a tree is going to fall in front of you. All of a sudden, a snowstorm is going to come out of nowhere. There's going to be a massive flood. Your strengths are those weapons that you can pull or tools you can pull out of your backpack to, all right, how am I going to get over this tree? Am I going to dig under the tree? Am I just going to wait for help? Am I going to Google how the last person got? Those are how you use your strengths. They're those types of behavior. Yeah. You know, I'm an activator. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my shoulder down and just try to run against the tree. And that's not going to work, but I'm going to be impatient. So then my learner and my context are going to kick in. And then I'm going to be like, okay, how did other people do this? I'm going to send a note out to LinkedIn. How did you get around this tree? You know, so that's how you use those strengths on the way to your vision. But along the way, your vision is your life. You work backwards from there. It's about having an outcomes focused life. Your vision is your life outcome. Then you work your way backwards and you have yearly objectives. And then it might be like, all right, I have a 5-year objective, right? But basically your yearly objective is your outcome for the year. Then you keep working back monthly, weekly, daily objectives, daily outcomes. And when you define that, you become intentional. And that's when you start not only weeding crap out of your day, like, all right, what really are the 1 or 2 things I need to get done today to move me toward my vision? Everything else is unimportant. And you focus on that. So that helps from that point of view. But it also, when you start defining that and putting together what's there, I give my clients a roadmap at the end that is basically like, here's who you are. If you take a job that doesn't fit who you are, because also one of the things is like a list of what you love and what you hate. So if you take something over here, I'm going to slap you in the face. You should slap yourself in the face because you're setting yourself up for failure. And so it's a roadmap. It's not like, here's the specific job you want, but it's, you got to limit yourself. Sometimes, what do I want to do with my life? It's so vast that when you start limiting it down, here are the things I love, here are the things I hate, here are the things I'm naturally inclined to do, it becomes much smaller and it makes it much more manageable. And you stop beating your head against the wall and maybe even end up saying there's nothing out there like this. I'm just going to create it myself.
You feel it. People know it when they're doing it, right? It's that thing that you do when all of a sudden the passage of time is just gone. You know, all of a sudden you wake up and you realize, oh my gosh, I just pulled an all-nighter and I didn't even realize it.
Right.
You know,
right.
It's a great, you know, it's a great feeling.
And you give off. I'm a big believer, and I don't know what to call it, but when you start living according to that, you give off energy, and it's people know it.
I always have a bit of a sort of a knee-jerk pushback, you know, for these people who are like, you know, every time you ask them how they are, they're like, I'm great.
Right. Yeah.
Come on. You know, so I think the more, again, the more that people are starting to say, you know what, you know, my life isn't perfect. Other people are like, oh, okay, great. I'm free to be honest, to be real. And again, I think the more that you do it, there's a return for it.
You know, finding your niche has been so important in marketing, but it's the same for lifestyle, I think now too. Someone asked me, it was more of a branding question, but well, what if back to my article about, being yourself and your unique self. And he said, but what if you're just a plain Jane? And I said, then you be the best plain Jane you can be and find the other plain Janes out there who want to pay you $100 for your plain Jane books.
Yeah.
And now, like you said, more than ever, it's possible.
I really appreciate it. This has been a great conversation.
I agree. Thank you so much. It's been an honor and a pleasure.
I've got big balls. I've got